Did you ever have a moment of doubt about capitalism and whether greed's a good idea to run on?
Well, first of all, tell me, is there some society you know that doesn't run on greed?
Howdy, dear friends. Oliver and Dylan here. Have you ever wanted to create a whole economic model and change economics forever?
If your answer is no, I wouldn't be surprised. But did you know that there was a man that actually did that? His name, Milton Friedman.
And no, he wasn't the guy from Pixar's short film, Jerry's Game. He was an American economist and educator, best known for being one of the proponents of monetarism and free market capitalism.
Stick with these concepts because we'll explain them later in the video.
To begin with, Friedman was born on July the 31st in 1912 and then passed away on November the 14th in 2006. He attended Rogers University, where he earned a degree on mathematics and economics in 1932. In that same year, he was awarded with a scholarship from the University of Chicago. Later on, in 1946, Friedman accepted the job as a teacher at this university, and during this period, he began to develop theories that challenged Keynesian economics, the most dominant paradigm in economic thought at that time. In fact, thanks to these theories and his influence in the American economy, he was awarded the Nobel Prize on Economic Science in 1976. Take that, Keynes! As I mentioned before, Friedman has coined the concept of monetarism. But what is it? Well, long story short, it's an economic school of thought that emphasizes the importance of money supply. Why? Well, it turns out that if banks don't regulate the amount of money they inject into the economy, it can lead to both too much inflation or too much deflation. To solve this, monetarism states that central bank should produce the correct amount of money in order to adjust their currency with its natural growth. This is quite related to the next point on the table, free market capitalism.
To understand this contribution made by Friedman, we have to separate the two concepts inside this idea, the free market and capitalism, which are not exactly the same. It is totally understandable that people can confuse them. However, this may be caused by the basis of these two concepts, the law of supply and demand, that is just applied from different perspectives. Capitalism refers to the creation of wealth and ownership of capital, and of course the factors of production. And the free market is focused on the exchange of that wealth or the goods and services. In other words, capitalism runs on greed, in words of Friedman, and of course is based on owning personal property. And the free market is based on supply and demand, with ideally no government regulation. Understanding this, the free market capitalism is an economic model in which seldom does the government intervene. In fact, private individuals control the factors of production, and the free market, the supply and demand, regulates the economy. Friedman visited Chile for the first time during the military regime in 1975. To give some context, after the military coup in Chile, policies oriented to the development of neoliberal economics began to be applied, based on political and ideological restrictions. Even though Friedman favored the military regime in Chile, he always said that he didn't advise in any way the dictator, Augusto Pinochet. They just discussed all the political and economical changes that Chile was going through. Maybe he didn't interfere directly into the Chilean economy, but his own students did, the infamous Chicago Boys. Back in Chile, these professionals were in charge of the neoliberal economic and social reforms implemented during the dictatorship of Pinochet, focused on the decentralization of economic control and oriented the market to the monetarism model. Basically, the constitutional politics that support the rich and impoverish the lower class of Chile to this day.
To sum up, Milton Friedman was one of the most important economics of his era. His works and his theories contributed to the improvement of the financial spectrum of his country. Even though he was criticized by his participation in the Chilean dictatorship, Friedman established the foundations of modern economics, which is worth mentioning. Bye bye.